service up to some extent, then okay, for any application there will be pros and cons, and we supposed to recover from all. So that part I'll discuss, followed by the architectural standards in cloud computing industry, and if time permits, then I'll go to the actual part of cloud computing, which starts with infrastructure as a service. Okay, so for the bandwidth streaming purpose, then I'm disabling my video. Okay, yeah, so let me share my screen accordingly. Yeah, guys. Yeah, before going to that, let me regenerate the concept of means definition and the actual what exactly the cloud makes the reference to the essential concept, then followed by the disadvantages and the architecture standards. So we'll discuss, and if time permits, we'll discuss the actual part. Without this part, means no cloud computing industry can be established. Yeah. So moving on. Again, for the newcomers, that please, that I cannot repeat 3 class information here. That I'm giving you a simple redemption here. So please go through the same. And so if you look into the basic definition of cloud, simply that cloud computing, it simply refers to applications, and simply see the cloud computing refers to the applications and services. Okay, applications and services, these two. So applications will use in the name of make use on the name of software, right? And services are lot many. Okay, so cloud computing refers say to applications and services that run on distributed network. Okay, these particular applications deployed and developed, or services deployed and developed that run on distributed network using virtualized resources. So this is the actual content we need to establish, method we need to establish, or paradigm we need to establish for cloud computing. That is virtualized resources. Virtualized resources. So the resources are virtualized. Okay, virtualized resources accessed by the common internet protocols. Accessed by the common internet protocols and networking standards. So if I combine this category, like the cloud computing refers to the applications and services that run on a distributed network using virtualized resources accessed by common internet protocols and networking standards. That's it. So as usual, that we have discussed different classes of clouds. Like basically the classes of clouds have been broadly categorized into 2. That is deployment models. The first concept is deployment models, and the second one is the service models. Okay, these are the cloud models. Deployment models and service models, where under the category of deployment models, the public, private, community and hybrid cloud concept can be framed. And under the service models, that we have lot many. Basically, we call these 3 as especially we call these 3 as SPI model, SPI. So we'll start from right to left. So I stands for infrastructure as a service model, and P stands for platform as a service model. Okay, and finally here the third one, S stands for software as a service model. Software as a service, like this. So service platform and infrastructure, this is called SPI model, right? So I'll let you know the exact use of the cloud by establishing some connection with some 2 new words. Even this is new for the existing class students as well. Yeah. So the use of the word simply called, that is cloud. makes reference to the two essential concepts. Okay, two essential concepts. The first one is abstraction. This I'll discuss, right? And the second one is virtualization. So these two are the dependent factors. So I can say like cloud is completely depending upon these two factors. Without these two, or at least one, that no cloud computing can be industry can be established. Okay, this way. So what exactly this abstraction refers here? The abstraction refers in this way where the cloud computing concept or the cloud computing paradigm abstracts the details of system implementation from users and developers. So once the concept or the design is deployed into the cloud, right? And when the user or end user like us opts the services of this particular cloud, as I told you that a kind of agreement has been framed, that is service level agreement. So based on this particular service level agreement, the cloud works. If any violation occurs, then definitely the cloud pays back thrice to the particular user paid at the time of opting the services. So as I told you, this is for pay-per-use and on-demand service. So cloud works based on pay-per-use, and on-demand services. Like, so we'll see how the abstraction is made in the cloud industry to gain the popularity. The CC, the cloud computing paradigm, abstracts the details of system implementation from users and developers. So if I speak about in a particular way, right, like applications run on physical systems like the infrastructure, okay, that are not specified. Data is stored in locations that are unknown. Administration of systems like is outsourced to others, and access by users is ubiquitous, right? So I'm repeating, where the applications run on the physical systems which we have chosen, that is the name of infrastructure, especially when we opt the cloud for services, that the applications which run on the physical systems are not specified. Means what is the virtual machine number, okay, what is the rack server name, that everything, nothing is mentioned here, right? And data that is stored in locations that is not unknown, right? Means the storage entity is not known to the user, and administration of systems are outsourced to the others, and access by users is ubiquitous. So this is the meaning of abstraction. Okay, in this way the abstraction concept works for cloud industry, right? And if you see the second important paradigm, that is called virtualization, right? What do you mean by this? That we had already discussed the advantages, we had already discussed this concept at the time of having the discussion on advantages as well. Anyways, that let me repeat. Yeah, the cloud computing virtualizes systems by pooling and sharing the resources. So resource pooling concept that we have discussed, resource pooling and sharing. And I gave you one best example of Facebook data center as well. Anyway, then what exactly it means, right? So there are 2 points. Systems and storage can be provisioned as needed from a centralized infrastructure. Right, what do you mean by this? So as I told you, that cloud is a combination of various data centers, and for each and every data center, the service may be treated as a centralized service. So for India, say that Facebook has established its data center in Bangalore. Okay, now there is a need to have the communication with the geographically located data center of Michigan, okay, from USA. So due to some reasons, this particular Bangalore data center wants to further extend the storage. Why? Because storage got filled, right? So in this case, the systems and storage can be provisioned as needed from a centralized infrastructure. So from one location to another location means the services can be further extended, right, from one data center to data center. So my data center task can be compiled by the other data center, right, chosen by our means serviced through the parent data center like Bangalore. Like this is the one example. And the second point is this is related to the costs. Costs are assessed in a metered basis. As I told you, they say, for example, initially that I need to extend the service from one data center to other data center. Why? Because this data center's computational power, storage, and everything got filled. So I need to approach. Why? Because that I have already taken the money from the end user and promised to establish the connection for them, services for them. So at any cost that I need to provide the services to the registered users, right? Why? Because they have paid. So here the costs are assessed that, say initially I have chosen 2 GB storage for my data, but instantly that I wanna further extend this 2 GB to 4 GB. So again, so 2 GB storage got extended. So again, so what would be the charge for this? So this charge could be less. This charge could be less if I have opted this storage prior to say means prior to 90 days or something, but instantly I require this for tomorrow. So the cost would be more as compared to the service that which would have taken for 90 days back, like this. So this is the way. So costs are assessed in a metered basis, like multi-tenancy is enabled and resources are scalable. So these are the two important points that we can have under the concept of virtualization. So finally, the use of the word cloud makes sense if we accommodate these two paradigms without any problem, like abstraction and virtualization. So these are the two things that we need to accommodate, right? So this is the simple information that I want to furnish. Now, that keeping the concept of advantages, that let us move to the concept of disadvantages. But again, for the newcomers, that let me just speak out the types of advantages that we had under the cloud computing industry or paradigm. So the National Institute of Standards Technology established the concept of cloud, NIST. Okay, so according to that we need to work. So the first advantage we had under this is on-demand service or self-service, like. So this we have already discussed. Okay, on-demand service. This is the one advantage. Okay, or self-service. And the second one that we had discussed was broad network access. So cloud provides the broad network access up to the range for sharing the info. And third one we have discussed the name of resource pooling. So this also we have discussed just now, resource pooling. And again, under this resource pooling, the resource sharing concept may also come. That why? Because the multi-tenant usage is required for this. Now the fourth advantage was rapid elasticity. Okay, rapid elasticity that we have discussed. And fifth one, that is measured services. Measured services. So apart from these, we had some additional advantages as well. These are lower costs, So cloud industry provides very lower lower costs, right? And second one was ease of utilization. Ease of utilization means the application is very easy to utilize. Ease of utilization. So this is the second one, added one. And third one is quality of service. Yes, no doubt. Definitely this provides the quality of service, right? And the fourth one was reliability. The service and the network structure is quite reliable of the cloud. And outsourced IT management, information technology management, right? And simplified maintenance and upgradation, or upgrade you can call, that is simply simplified simplified maintenance. Okay, this was, and the next one was low barrier entry. Low barrier entry. Low barrier entry. So these are the number of additional advantages that we had discussed. That in keeping the same, that so as compared to the disadvantages, advantages are quite more. Because of that reason, this industry became popular. And if you come to the actual part of the disadvantages, right, we have only 3 up to some extent. That I would rather say these are not disadvantages, these are underdevelopment paradigms. Okay, disadvantages. Yeah, right. First point, that is as usual, definitely that something will come in our mind when we try to elaborate the services of cloud from one end to one data center end to another data center. See, as cloud computing applications suffer from the latency. Why? Because latency. Why? Because say if I choose these many number of applications, see, application, 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 application. So these all are interconnected. And seems here like the cloud is completely looking like a centralized entity, no? Right? Because of that reason. So each and every time the cloud has to, the cloud service has to provide the suitable info, suitable reply to the application user, right? So because of this reason, that latency is the problem. So this problem is also resolved by establishing the fog computing services. Anyways, then I'll come back. So as cloud computing applications suffer from the latency that is intrinsic in their, especially what is this? Intrinsic in their wireless area network, wireless community connectivity can simply call. Okay, so I need to establish a suitable and sufficient network to have the communication with the cloud environment. So the cloud environment takes a responsibility in performing the activities internally, right? By establishing its own network and bandwidth. So that is more than sufficient for its users. But from my end, if I wanna have the access towards the cloud, then I need to have the establishment of suitable wireless area networks, right? Wireless community, this connectivity. So while CC applications excel at large scale processing tasks, while cloud computing applications excel at large scale processing tasks, say if your application needs large amount of data transfer, say example, large amount of data transfer, then here cloud computing may not be the best choice. So what we do? So instead of sending the large data transfer, instead of performing the large data transfer at a time, we further divide that particular data into number of different chunks, right? So this facility is provided to some extent. So what I mean to say is that latency is the bottleneck, standard bottleneck. Now come to the second disadvantage, that is say additionally, cloud computing is a stateless system. Okay, so in order for communication on a distributed system, it is necessarily unidirectional in nature. It is necessarily unidirectional in nature. So all the requests we use in say that is HTTP. Okay, whatever the website name is specified, that is a hypertext transfer protocol we call it is, right? So all the requests we use in HTTP like puts, gets, and so on are requests to a service provider. So need to impose the transactional coherency, right, upon the system. So this imposes the transactional coherency upon the system, and additional overhead in the form of service brokers, okay, transaction managers, and other middleware services can also be applied like this. So this HTTP involves different types of individual entities. Say starting from, that is, say, transactional coherency is one, and middleware technologies we utilize, and application development choices that we need to consider, not many kind of things. So because of that reason, this particular stateless system suffers from these many number of unidirectional problems, right? So this is the second one. Then coming to the part of third one, that we can make all these situations possible by establishing a suitable terminology or paradigms, a suitable technology for this cloud computing industry. So that is, this is really a serious concern, that concern like that is security, and this is the one of the domain. This is domain that we still do with this. Security and privacy in is other concern. Security and privacy is the other concern. Just now I had mentioned about like that the user do not have the information about its location, or the location where exactly the data has been stored. Then okay, then how the computations related to the particular data has been performed, that no one knows. Then where is a guarantee of this particular data storage and others? So again, security and privacy is the another concern for this cloud. So these are the factors that we can consider as disadvantages, but these disadvantages cannot stop the rising or the establishment of cloud industry. Still, till today, frankly speaking, that even I have started my research in 2015 in cloud computing environment, that I could not find such kind of deficiencies till today. Still, this area is excelling, but in order to solve the issues related to the latency, right? The cloud has established fog computing environment, right, as a sub-entity under this one, fog computing. Again, under this fog computing, that another computing scenario has come, that is called edge computing. Okay, means like the IoT devices we use. So what we do, that instantly, that without storage we perform these smaller operations here, then up to some extent some kind of analysis can be done, but finally for the permanent analysis and for permanent storage, that this cloud fog computing service utilizes the cloud computing environment. So like this, the latency problem has been resolved, right? So again, the fog and edge computing, these are the two emerging research areas which are interlinked with the cloud as well. Okay, so this is the different point of discussion that I don't want to talk about the same. Okay, yeah. So we'll come back to the actual architectural standards which are really required for establishing the cloud computing industry, right? So from this point, I think that we'll start the actual part of discussion of cloud computing. Sorry. Yeah. So what are the architectural standards of cloud computing industry? Right. So I'll discuss the names first. Then after that, I'll let you know the architecture, that in what way all these particular standards can be grouped together, so that the service can be provided, or the service can be provided without any problem. So what are the different types of entities need to be considered while establishing the architectural standards for cloud computing industry? Okay, yeah. So the first one here is, there are 7 basically, right? Yeah, let me change. Yeah, the first one is this. As usual, since that virtualization is the one type of paradigm for cloud computing industry, then the first architecture standard need to be considered for establishing CC industry is here. Here is that platform virtualization of resources. Platform virtualization of resources. So this is one. So this is the first standard, okay? And the second one is service-oriented architecture. So for any industry or for any framework, that we must and should establish the service-oriented architecture, SOA. I'm simply writing here. This is the second standard, SOA, service-oriented architecture. So there are different types of computational paradigms need to be accommodated under this, so that we will do right after some time. So third one is web application frameworks. Web application frameworks. So just in the last class, I had discussed about the Amazon Web Services. So this is the web application, one of the web application framework. And the fourth one is deployment of open source software. Deployment of, okay, this we can do, deployment of open source software. Deployment of open source software. Now, the fifth one is standard web services. These are not APIs. These are standard web services which run based on the application program interfaces. Standard web services. And the sixth one is autonomic systems. Autonomic systems. Okay. And the last one, seventh one is grid computing. So this part we have already discussed, right, at the time of establishing the core concept of cloud. So grid computing. So platform virtualization of resources, service-oriented architecture, web application frameworks, deployment of open source software, and standard web services, autonomic systems, and grid computing. So we'll try to accommodate all these, right? And accordingly, based on these architectural standards, we have a cloud computing stack. That is in the form of architecture. So what exactly the cloud computing stack and architecture depicts here in the sense, this one. So this is the cloud computing architecture. Cloud computing architecture, or we can call this is cloud computing stack as well. So we utilize all the services of the same. Okay, so we'll do one by one, and mostly these are lot many types of entities are involving in the cloud computing stack or cloud computing architecture. So please have the info like this. So let me have a boundary on the same. Right, starting from this, I'll accommodate maximum number of applications here. Like this. Okay, so there is an issue that the first thing must be the suitable application program interface, right? So here, these are the APIs, that is application program interfaces, APIs. Okay, entity, and this is the management entity. This is the management entity, application program interface to management. So there is a coordination among these two like this, vice versa. APIs to management, management to APIs. Now we'll see the architectural standards. Means support for architecture standards, that what type of entities support the application program interfaces, or what type of entities support the management, cloud computing management. Yeah, if you consider the application program interfaces here, these are the main things. Like the first one is core connectivity and delivery under application program interfaces. So the first one is core connectivity. This is one entity. Core connectivity and delivery. So this is one. Core connectivity and delivery. Now this is working on the layer of abstraction. So this is the abstracted, this works in an abstracted manner, right? This is completely abstracted one. This layer, core connectivity and delivery one. Okay, completely abstracted. And this is supported with its relevant hardware. This abstraction layer is supported with its relevant hardware, application program interface. And the last one is that it provides different types of facilities. So these are the 4 paradigms which support the application program interface entity or paradigm like this, right? So if you see the thing like, okay, this part can also be filled with the abstraction. This is a completely abstracted abstracted formation, this one. So this is completely abstracted. All the services are abstracted. So 4 application program interfaces like core connectivity and delivery, abstraction, okay, hardware and facilities. Different types of facilities can be taken. Now, if you come to the part of the management, right, management provides different types of services under this. See, starting from it overlooks the authenticity type of problem, that up to what extent the authenticity can be managed, right? So this cloud connectivity and delivery service is interlinked with two types of services, management services. I mean, 2 types of layer management services. The first layer contains here, this is authentication. So this is the one, right? And second one is security. It provides some security concerns in the form of development, okay? And the third one is the corresponding network related activities, that is TCP/IP, transmission control protocol or internet protocol, TCP/IP. This is related to the network network related activities. So TCP/IP is the one, okay? Security is the one, and again the authentication is the one. So this is the first layer. So this first layer is associated with the core connectivity and delivery entity of API. Now, as I told you, the second part is also having the connectivity with this particular part, where the second layer contains different types of grids or clusters. As I told you that data center is having the structure of clusters. So it's combination of structures, means combination of grids and combination of clusters. So grid or cluster, we perform cluster computing as well, my dear friends. Grid or cluster, right? And different types of its operating system images. Okay, operational images, I would rather say, not operating system. Why? Because this is also the part. Different types of images, and finally, without this concept we count, that is virtual machine management, VMM. Okay, so this is the another layer. So again, this is also associated with this particular core connectivity and delivery entity of API. Now, come back to the part of hardware entity, where under the management category, these main number of entities are having these main number of entities are associated with the hardware. So what it does, so the computation can be managed with respect to the hardware established, means that is compute scenario, right? And network related activities can be managed with the hardware, right? And the storage as well. And the storage. Okay, guys. So this is the third layer associated with the hardware. Okay. Now, facilities are different types. Like say that I want to establish some say power related activities that we name as say HVAC. This is the power related activity. HVAC. These are the services. Okay, I'll name it after some time. Huh? So power is another entity, and space. Space we can establish under this service. So these two services, especially, that is including abstraction, that the authentication, security, TCP/IP, and the grid or cluster computing or images and VMA, virtual machine management. These two layers are associated with core connectivity and delivery, and hardware manages the computing instances, networking instances, and storage related activities. And the facilities can be further extended and it's broadened up to the range of power, space, and again establishing the green computing type of issue, cloud computing industry. So these are the two essential steps that we need to have for cloud computing industry. So in order to make the cloud computing architecture stack quite complete and massive, okay, massive, then we need to have the architectural standards for architecture standards and the name of platform, virtualization of resources, service-oriented architectures, different types of service-oriented architectures, and web application frameworks, different type, deployment of open source softwares in different manner, right? And standard web services, autonomic systems, and grid computing. So these concepts are already established. So these are the architectural standards need to be maintained based on the stack of this particular cloud computing, which is managed through different application program interfaces and management framework. So in this scenario, the cloud computing industry concept has been established. So these are the basic preliminary concepts required in order to establish the cloud computing industry. So that's what. So I was knocking on the same, no, where as compared to abstraction is a kind of normal entity. But if you come to the actual part of the cloud, where it establishes its concept on the name of virtualization, is not that much easy to maintain. So how the virtualization concept has been framed here. So I'll discuss this point. Right? Still 5 minutes time is left, so I'll do this accordingly. See here, virtualization. If you understand this one, then I'll discuss the infrastructure service architecture in upcoming class so that you can understand. Okay. So virtualization. So this is must for cloud, my dear friends. Okay. Yeah, virtualization refers to the partitioning of the resources. Okay. Simply, it partitions the various resources. Okay. Partitioning of various resources of a physical system, such as say computing, storage, network, and memory, into multiple virtual resources. So virtualization is the key enabling technology of cloud computing. Virtualization is the key enabling technology of cloud computing and allows pooling of resources. right? So in cloud computing, the resources are pooled to serve multiple users using multi-tenancy. So multi-tenant aspects of the cloud allow say multiple users to be served by the same physical hardware. So if I speak about the virtualization architecture of this particular cloud, see how it works here. So this is the virtualization architecture of the cloud. So I'm discussing here. Say, let me consider the one data center stack, right? In this stack, the top one is the physical layer. See, bottom one is the physical layer. So this is the physical layer. I'm writing here, physical layer. So what it consists? It consists the processor, okay, disk, okay, memory, and network. So these are the entities that we can accommodate under physical layer. Now, about to this, that another layer is existing. This is called virtualization layer. So this is our traditional computing scenario, my dear friends, environment, hardware environment. But we are making this particular physical environment as virtualized. So here that we establish one virtualized software. So this is on the name of hypervisor. I'll tell you. This is a virtualization layer. This is the virtualization layer. So this makes the complete entity of the cloud, right, virtualized. So again, what is there on the top of this virtualization? What we use basically, as I told you, the concept of cloud is completely depending upon the virtual machine computation. So this virtual machine manages the applications, okay, which are running, okay, applications, and these applications are installed on different operating systems, OS, right? And then again we have some physical environment system individually. So this is the one virtual machine management layer. Like this, we have, this is one, if I take, this is a virtual machine one, like we have up to M scenarios, virtual machine N. This is again applications, okay, and operating systems, and operating systems, and finally followed by the physical system. So this is the virtualization architecture. Like this, that what we have, that this figure shows the architecture of virtualization technology in cloud. So the physical resources here, such as computing, storage, memory, and network resources, are virtualized, right? So the virtualization layer partitions the physical resources into multiple virtual machines, VM1 to VMN. So the virtualization layer allows multiple operating system instances to run currently as virtual machines on the same underlying physical resources. Okay, so this is the part of virtualization. So I'll discuss different types of parameters required for this virtualization in upcoming class, tomorrow class, right? So I have discussed three important architectures here. That is the virtualization architecture is the one, and the second one is the cloud computing architecture stack and architecture standards and its disadvantages and all. That's it, guys. So this is about today's class. Then if you have any concerns, then do let me know.
It is like later.
Yeah, just wanted to know in that suppose we have n number of virtual machines, and if each virtual machine has some memory and RAM related thing, right? So if one virtual machine need a more RAM or something, so can he virtualization layer will apply it, provided other RAM as well?
No. Some kind of migration thing, migration type of operation happens from one virtual machine to another virtual machine. right? Say
Okay.
let me tell you about this. Say virtual machine is given 100% computation power or 100% memory. Say only 98% memory is already got filled and 2% memory is left.
Yes,
But
sir.
in order to run a particular type of applications, that it requires virtual machine one requires 4 percentile memory, but only 2 percentile memory is available with this, right? So that particular job can be migrated from one virtual machine to another virtual machine, and this virtual machine will become the parent virtual machine, which will look into the look after the activities of the particular job submitted to the virtual machine 2 on behalf of VM1. So migration, virtual machine migration situation is there in cloud. So
Okay, sir.
internally, this kind of management can be performed.
And
So in
this
this way,
management
yeah,
will be performed by virtualization layer, sir.
yeah, virtualization layer.
Okay, sir.
It supports, and such kind of virtualization layer is also means installed with a kind of framework, so which manages such kind of activities. Until and unless we give the instructions to the virtual machine one, then only the migration type of operations happens. And what we do that each and every time we try to analyze the strategy and strategy of the strategy of virtual machine, related virtual machine, that how much computation power is being utilized, okay, how much memory is still left, like that. Each and every time that we perform the analysis on such kind of virtual machines. So this kind of facilities also there in the cloud. Okay, because of that is no kind of failures happen till this time, especially related to the computing options. Okay, virtual machine migration, I'll discuss this point when it comes for discussion, don't worry.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, okay, fine. Okay then guys, we'll meet in the next class then. Bye bye.